starting. We're streaming. And now, what's the URL here for me to go to view it? How can I view it?
Are you doing a live stream?
Go to Tougaloo page.
I thought you were streaming by pointing to the screen.
I am. It's going to your Tougaloo channel.
Oh, you want me to sign in?
Go to the page so I can view it. So we can view the screen.
Oh, that's already taken place.
It's already streaming now. I
Yeah,
just want to go and view it.
I apologize.
No, no.
I was just like,
No, I know you got overload. I got it. You got overload going. So how do I get to your website
so
to view the screen?
that's what you said. Okay. Here. Actually, what's your YouTube?
Keep on.
Okay. So, search.
Magnifier. This is the top. Magnifier.
What are you saying now? Here it goes. Okay. So, channel 2. Live stream. Since it's I'm looking at the account, I'm actually just going within the web, from that as a user.
That's what I was.
Because you're logged in.
Program.
No, as long as you were doing something else, like, why is it coming out?
Well, now somebody's supposed to be back over the intro.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
Whether, who was that person? She should be.
Okay, so just when it says live, I don't know how to do it from there, once you actually sign in. So there's it's no one's watching this. It's just one person. So no one can really look at it.
So,
Sign down and yeah, like it seems you are your account and it's just weird. It's just a little bit what is this? And I'm sorry, I haven't heard them in a while. There's really good ones.
stay on track.
Roscoe. Don't ask him shit, whatever.
looking for us. They wanted to know who was with Eugene when he drowned. But we never told anybody. And I sure enough wouldn't say anything because I wasn't allowed to go swimming on no Sunday. And I was more afraid of my mother than anybody. Now, the only person I ever told was Eugene's mother, and that was at the funeral. So when the funeral was over and I was walking with Eugene's mother, I told her what happened. She gave the policeman her statement, but she never once involved me because she knew how I felt about my mother. Me and 4 friends, we was going down to the beach on this particular Sunday. We caught a produce truck that was heading down on Wabash. Some of them had produce, some they were empty. But brother, you really had to be moving to catch one, I tell you that. So we were all together. We had a little neighborhood gang. The Irish had the Reagan coats. They had the Greek gang, they had the Germans. But the nearest gang to us was the Reagan coats. They was one of the roughest gangs in Chicago at the time. And we had to go through their neighborhood to get to the beach. So we would always work on the opposite side of the L so we could finally get to the beach without getting beat up. There was always trouble. Not so much for the young guys like myself. But you knew things was happening because you hear about beatings or bombings. Something was happening all the time. They said, well, when the blacks move into the neighborhood, and then they always trying to take your jobs, it was something to keep them on us at all times. I mean, it was the culture of the time, I guess. Anyway, we'd cross over this bridge over the Illinois Central Railroad track that would take us directly to the beach. The white people, they started a beach behind the Michael Reese Hospital. And they were always welcome to come over to our beach anytime. But we could never go to their beach. And I didn't want to go over there anyway. We added a colored lifeguard and a colored policeman, and we had us a little black beach. We come around by the water's edge and we go up on this little island. And finally we ended up on the hot and cold beach. The hot and cold was, it's the name we gave this little island behind the factories. The Keeler Brewery was on one side and the Consumer Ice Company was on the other. And when the brewery would clean that with this real hot water, it would all run off into our part of the lake. And so the water would be warm. And that's why we called it the hot and cold. And it had lime and stuff in it. No beach we ever went to was clean. Never. If it was designated for us, it was always something wrong with it. It was close to the factories. And this is the God's truth. It was always, we always was on the low end of everything. Okay, we came around to this little island where we had our raft. Took us a long time to build that raft. It was a pretty good raft too. None of us was accomplished swimmers, but we could dive and swim underwater for a while and then come up. The hot and cold beach was about a block away between the black beach and the white beach. Now the lifesaver do not cover this particular area. If you was on the black beach, there was a black lifesaver there. But the hot and cold was our own private little thing. So it was no protection. But if we got out, if we got in trouble, we could always run to the black beach and get a lifer. But we was out on the raft and we was pushing the raft, trying to get to the milepost. We was swimming, kicking, having fun that day. This fella, he was a Polish fella, come up from the white beach and was walking along the breakwater. And he started throwing rocks. And we didn't think too much of it. We made a game out of it. He threw a rock, we ducked. Somebody hollered, here come another one. We ducked and get out the way. And this went on for a while. Anyway, Eugene had just come up from diving, getting ready to dive again. And somebody called his name or said something to him and got his attention, so he turned to look, and this white fella threw another rock, a big rock, and hit him right in the forehead on the right-hand side, and he fell back in the water. So I jumped in to see if I could help him or see what was wrong, and I seen he had a lot of blood coming out of his head, and then he reached and grabbed my right ankle. Now, I was only up for a second, and I hardly got a breath. And I had to shake him loose and to go back up. And by the time I got back up, blood was coming to the top. All the guys was excited. They kept watching this here white fella to watch him go back to the white beach. So I swam back to the island, and then I ran about a block over to the beach where the lifesaver was. And I went to the head lifesaver, and they called him Butch. So when I told Butch what was happening, he dove in. It took him about 30 minutes to bring my man up. We ran back to the colored beach to tell the people what happened. And by that time, they had got Eugene's body, and everybody wanted to see that, so they went over and looked at that, and then they started demanding that the policemen arrest the white guy. But the white policeman there said, no way, you're not going to arrest him, and that's that. And that's when the fight started. And the police started beating everybody. I mean, clubbing them, kicking them, whatever. And the thing about that was, he was only beating colored people. He didn't hit not one white person, just color. Hell, we got out of there. Man, we got dressed as fast as we could, and we ran and caught up with this produce truck that was going our way. I knew I couldn't go home because I didn't have my shoes. So we just stayed out there for a while. With some of the other boys, they made it back over on 31st Street. That's where most of the Negroes lived at that time. And they spread the word about what had happened on the beach. And that's pretty much how the fight spread it over our way. It was a scary time. I mean, the white gangs had our neighborhoods under siege. But we still had to go to work. You still had to do your regular everyday things. But if they caught you out, they'd jump on you. They was pulling people off streetcars and beating them. Anywhere they catch you, they'd go to work on you. And at the same time, all the colored soldiers was coming home. That's when we decided that we would fight. Because anytime the white guys would attack us and we'd fight back, we was the one arrested. The police would always look the other way. So, if the police wouldn't protect us, then they would. They set up a defense mechanism. They created a communication system and assigned certain areas to people. When they would see gangs coming, they would notify one another, and they would get on in the windows that had clear vision of the streets, in alleyways and rooftop, and they would snipe from there. They had been waiting for this opportunity, see. You know, there was always tension way before the riot. Meaning, the riots didn't cause the tension. The tension was already there. Something was going to happen. Eugene was just a regular kid. He had just graduated from the 8th grade, 14 years old, smart as a whip. It's not too much you can say about him. He didn't have that long a life. You knew he was good in the books, and you knew he could do things. He was just a regular kid.
Another round of applause. Eugene's called by LaShawn A.Z. out of this time. So at 2:30, we will have talk back, and it will not be done by myself, it will be done by Kelly Newman Ellis, and we're going to talk back about our filmmakers, discovering the inspirations, challenges, and artistic visions behind their powerful works. So we will be welcoming Raven Jackson and LaShawn A.Z. 2:30. Thank you.
Yeah, so as soon as the talk is over, yeah, because my show is at 4, and so yes, so everything is sort of like number 9 is open the show, so that's when the house light should start. It's math, and yeah, exactly. So this is as soon, no, so this is starting as soon as the talk back is over, so not in this time, because I think the talk back is 30 minutes. And so essentially this playlist is just, it's about, the first 9 songs are about 30-40 minutes, so from 3:30 to 4 o'clock is when this 9 songs should be. Whenever the talk back ends, that's when the song, the playlist should start. The song that has launch comes on, the song number 5. Assume that'll be around 5 minutes the talk back at some time. That's when house lights will come down when that song starts. And as soon as that song ends, out of here. Closing song, it comes to the end of the show. Yes, I did the show. Yes, I'll be down there. So, yeah, so essentially, while the songs are playing from 3:30 to 4, I will be setting up stage, so we're saying I would be on the stage. Exactly. So it's music that's playing while people are going to the bathroom, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yes. And then the closing song comes in after my final line. So we need everybody to and that last number 10 is what I'm playing. So number 9 is at the beginning of the show. Like these first 9 songs are going to be pre-show. Song number 10 isn't until the end of the show. Yes. Yeah. And I'm going to keep this with you. Yes, this line right here. Yes. Yep, and I'll do like the lights can come up, I'll do a little bow or whatever. It's only like I think a minute and 14 seconds that last song. So once that goes on. Yeah. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you.
If you're not here, you're not here.
Yeah, so basically,
Is this computer happening? If it does, oh, okay, I was about to say, if it did happen, got you, okay, because I was going to say, I could just share the playlist and you can just play it, so it's not perfect. That's perfect. No problem, no questions for me. Thank you.
We could highlight the first 9 songs and start playing the playlist. So play that. That would be succession. What is not in stop. This talk ends. That's when right now, you expect I'm not. I like the first right there. Now hold down. Oh, I see right now.
Right where the steps are. Yes. So we need 3 more signs of these right here.
I did not stop it, so it's still starting.
so what I'll do, I'll put those down, and then put it so that way, when you get paid, I think we'll just start with that. Give us the playlist. that, and all this stuff.
Yes. You're winging well.
Thank you.
You're flying well.
I'll double check with
Let's see, we got these here in the background. Yes. Oh, we're doing well.
this is not he's talking about this. Okay, so what we're gonna do, so basically, these songs have to be back to back, but we have this now as a pickup and
So,
but these songs they really back to back, just the first one, not the first. So, because right now, obviously, we have to put
Or can you just go ahead and highlight the version now so that when we start playing, it starts at 1, continuously down to 2.
Yes, but what I was saying, there was very so what application can you move it over to, so that everything can
Or can you do it for good?
I really don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know like some people have like downloaded, it's not like, not necessarily legal, but they download the music and they put it into that musical app. And they play like a playlist, but I don't know if I do that.
And so that's why I went into here. I was thinking, okay, if I, I'm not going to put it over here, it should mean play.
Yeah, you can like make your own playlist. Have you tried to drag one into your house?
Okay, I'll let you.
Russ, they each have a hand? They each have a hand?
Yes, sir. Everybody on stage will have a handheld. However, we don't have or to what you're seeing, they'll have to use one of theirs to pass that off into the podcast.
How you doing? Oh, blessed to be here.
Been busy all morning.
Yes.
Can we get them more light?
So you just want to use the general power chair we're talking about, or it's not actually?
Right.
I got you. That's what we see. Very good. Thank you so
And
much.
what I'm gonna do for them when they start, I'm
Okay,
gonna.
my name is Esther. I know you
Esther.
called me my dad. But I thought you were asking
Esther,
me.
why didn't you,
I didn't know.
why didn't you
I
correct
just
me?
thought you were doing it, you know, because some
okay.
people do that.
Okay, but anyway, Esther, what I'm gonna be close up here, wide here, but I'll zoom in.
So,
Okay.
we don't know what it's on. It's not on.
It's there. It's there. Although I'll start like this.
No, I'm getting lighted. Where's this? What's those lights?
Mm-hmm.
Some light on the stage. Or is it?
Oh, no, that's purpose.
Oh,
We got it all covered. Cause I'll be watching.
see, she lost lights on the stage.
House lights and lights on the stage.
House lights and lights on the stage.
House lights all the way up?
Yes.
House lights all the way up.
All the way up?
Uh-huh.
What is that track?
she's doing it. Yeah.
Leave 1 minute early and I want to start. And then we went to 2:30. All right, we're ready to start, and thank you so much again for our next event here. We're now doing Talk Back, and I want to first introduce our moderator for this evening. Her name is Kelly Norman Ellis, and I'm going to give you a bio of Kelly's background, and then I'm going to introduce our 3 representatives on the stage. I'm super excited about this. We're going to have about 15 minutes. From 2:30 to 2:45, and then around 2:45 we'll do some audience participation. We'll try to get you out of here about 3. I'll come back up at 3 and just let you know what we're doing and what's coming next. So we'll do one more film this evening and let you know what we're doing at 4 o'clock as well. All right, so Kelly Norman Ellis, our moderator for this evening, is the author of Tougaloo Blues, which was in 2003, and Offerings of Desire in 2012. And she's the co-editor of Spaces Between Us, Poetry, Prose, and Art on HIV/AIDS. Her poetry has appeared in Sister Fire, A Black Womanist Fiction, and Poetry, Spirit, and Blame, Roll Call, a generational anthology of social and political Black literature, and Art, Boomer Girls, Essence Magazine, Obsidian, K-Mix, Cornbread Nation, Appalachian Reckoning, and most recently, Teaching Black, the craft of teaching a Black life in literature. Ellis is an associate professor of English, and she's creative writing at Chicago State University. Currently, she is visiting associate professor of English at Jackson State University. I introduce to you Kelly Norman Ellis. Our 3 films that you just saw earlier this morning. The first one is All Dirt Roads, Taste of Salt, Raven Jackson. This film explores the textures of rural life and natural landscapes through the eyes of a young Black girl in Mississippi. Our next person on our talk back, we will continue with Earth Mama, and you will have the lead actor Tia Lamore. And we also, our just recent film, we saw Eugene's Code by LaShawn A.C. And it's a work that considers identity, belonging, and the spaces we claim for ourselves. I now present to you our talkback.
historic, this convocation. We all want to thank Anjanou for this, and the many people working with her. Round of applause for Anjanou. So, we're going to have a conversation, and so I don't want to go, question one, question two. We'll just talk, because I have some feelings about y'all's work, and Anjanou and I have had conversations about the work you all are doing. I don't know if you're familiar with the poet Sterling Plump. He's from Clinton, Mississippi, and is a person who migrated to Chicago, which is how I met him in Chicago. And we had a conversation because I was talking about poets who, and some of you are poets, but poets who love the land and have a relationship to earth and land. And my grandfather was a farmer, and his father was a farmer, and they're very attached to the earth and the water and the change of seasons. But Sterling Plump said to me, when I left Mississippi, I didn't want to see no more cotton, sugar cane, nothing. And I had to understand and reconcile that, right? Because, especially in the South, but also in the North, so we're going to talk about some of the images from the northern beaches and things like that. But the same nature that can help us heal has also been weaponized against us by white supremacy and by certain systems, right? And so I just wanted you guys to maybe talk a little bit about, particularly with your film, right? Where Black people are often given the leavings, right? The leftovers, and we take it and make it a beach and make it a delicacy or what have you. And so could you talk a little bit just about that twofold kind of idea of the earth saves us and yet sometimes it's weaponized against us? Whoever wants to jump in.
Yeah.
It was Eugene.
Yeah, Eugene. Yeah, I think just like thinking about the beach culture in Chicago, which is so beautiful. It was one of the things that kind of like attracted me there, in addition to having people there as well. And so just getting to witness that is a very special place, especially like a space that the kids make in the water. And so a lot of the footage that I have is just capturing what was already there. And so yeah, it's a strange thing to reconcile with this. The way that water has it's such a contentious space, and it holds so much grief, I think, for us. And there's so many a lot of folks just like not getting in, and everywhere I go, I stay in California, and so it's. It's a place that I think holds a lot of pain, but it's also like a really beautiful space.
I'm kind of obsessed with the rivers here in Mississippi since I've come back to live here, and the Big Black and of course the Pearl River, and but you say it's a source, can be a source of pain and tragedy. I often think of Emmett Till being put into it, right? It also connects us to mothering. We see a lot of mothering in water in these films. But the division, something like a beach, which should be, I'm also thinking about Mississippi and our history on the coast of only parts of the beach could Black folks get in, right? And in Chicago, very much that history too. So this idea of water as a source of pain, and yet purification, motherhood, all those
always remember.
Yeah, and, and I also say, like, I think maybe I don't necessarily, I know, a lot of violence is happening with that, but I would say it's like, it's humans, you know what I mean? So there's a reverence I have for Earth that I'm about to just really, be in the work, unapologetically, allow the history to be there. But I really also want to show reverence for these characters and action to things. Such as learning, fishing,
And I just this second made a conscious connection with Earth Mama and Beloved. And it's a lot of, because of the water, in that last scene particularly, the connection. Tim, you want to talk about that at all?
About the water?
Yeah, the water.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from the Bay, from Oakland, and being on the Bay, the water is it's a retreat place that we go to. Like, it doesn't matter if you're going to your friend, and you guys are going to go snorkeling or whatever you're going to do. We meet at the water for whatever reason. And whenever I'm at the beach, I remind myself that this is the end of our world. The other side of this water is somebody else's world. And I find that the more that I relax in nature, the more I'm reminded of my natural ways of my being. The more I lay under a tree, the more I'm reminded that I'm doing nothing, and that's okay. Because I can still, stand and have that memory in myself, like a tree would, or as water comes, water goes, bring you new, and all of these things is just this like state of flow. And I think women, in particular, our connection to water is mysterious, it is vast, we know nothing. And sometimes when I feel my most powerful, I feel like the water, mysterious and vast, and still learning.
There's always symbolism in the literary tradition of water. It's beloved. Toni Morrison's Beloved. Was that intentional? I mean, in terms of these two films, was that intentional? Thinking about the water in that way.
Yes, we definitely, the film explores what happens in the life of a city and to urban years, and also just exploring the seasons of the life. Water was a big image that I thought about that image a lot, because water really goes change states, from liquid to rain, to being river, it's snow, and in that same way, I'm looking at the way this character changes. And I really wanted her journey to mirror the journey of cycles. She's alive, she's going to die, her family transforms, she's a really transforming being. And so that of nature, I was really resonating with Mark.
I like the way, these two pieces, Earth Mama, G, is urban, right? We forget about Black people in urban areas who are still very much connected to nature, right? And it doesn't matter, I grew up with a grandfather who also had like a city garden, is what I call backyard gardens. How many of y'all had backyard gardens with your grandparents, right? They grew tomatoes and cucumbers and greens, and wherever we went in Chicago, people had backyard gardens. Like one of my neighbors, collard greens that I was trying to contemplate how I was going to, walk past and pocket some of them, but I couldn't do that. But I love the way you have these urban stories about the connection with nature, which I think is really important. I'm trying to think of some conversations I had with Anjanu, so we can kind of be on the same page. I'm thinking about you, Raven, and Anjanu and I had the same thought. Why Mississippi? What is it about the landscape of Mississippi that pulled you to tell Mac's story here?
That's a good question. So I'm in Tennessee, and originally I thought we were filming all of them in Tennessee because I have a Christian position because we were there and I heard this reference to me. But I was still there since photography. This focus on the mother, I discovered Wilson Church in Pittsburgh, Mississippi, and I knew I'd be in a church location before I made a living in the church is just so special. There's so much history there. And my mother's from Mississippi. She's from Mississippi. And in a way you can't plan for it, I knew that it would be a that. And the whole that has so much lineage, heritage, ties with generation. I needed to have that conversation around Terry. And so it was a blessing to film it here. Because we ended up filming the grocery store scene. This was in the home. It's based on grocery store in Mississippi. Parents are in the film. And so it's just some of those who were part of Wilson Church when it was in operation in the home. So it just ended up being a beautiful conversation.
I'm cutting my mic off in between so I can get feedback, so you see that. Yeah, I think I recognized Mississippi right away. You know, I don't know how, but I said, this one, Mississippi. I think too because you had the bayou in there, the swamp with the cypress trees, and I thought, is this the delta? Where is this in Mississippi? And I also think there's a lot of historical memory in Mississippi, as we talked about earlier. But it was refreshing to see a different story that wasn't rooted in this grand tragedy of enslavement and oppression, but it was a Black family story that had tragedy, that had joy, that beautiful wedding scene. All of those threads coming together, I think, was really important to me. I want to ask you all about, because when I saw your film, I thought immediately of Daughters of the Dust. The first time I said, if you've not seen Julie Dash's classic Daughters of the Dust, you need to go do that. You leave here, this is the teacher in me talking. Go here, go out, rent it, watch it. But I felt like maybe there was, she informed some of your vision in that. So that's what I want to ask all of you all, in terms of your work. What influences have you been a filmmaker, as an actor, on these films?
Where we go from I'm sorry, can you be crazy?
Well, can you talk about the influences on your acting, perhaps? Because Anjani and I talked about how much work you've done with your face, right? Your fear, your shame, all of that stuff. Were there actors who informed how you would do that? I guess that's my question.
And I wish. I just got out of my first acting class with Mrs. Nolay in Mississippi. You know, that's hella funny that you asked me that, because on set they were like really like, Tia, stop moving your eyebrows, because I'm pretty expressive as a person, you know, like I can't hide nothing on my face ever. And so it was something that I was consciously always practicing, not necessarily having like a stoic way, but actually being present and not letting my face decide before my mind or my heart. It's something that I have taken with me for sure, but it was definitely meant to me. They were like, Tina, lock them eyebrows down. You know, you can't, come on. Like, you know, and during filming, I wasn't able to see myself at all. Even when I wanted to, and it's like my first time on the set, so of course I'm like, is that cool? Like, you know, I wasn't getting much feedback. They're just like, just keep being present. And so in that, I had to really calm my spirit to be able to do that. Because I'm not like that at all, you know? But yeah, definitely being present in my body and yeah, just letting my body decide first before my expression.
Because there's so many close-ups, especially in Indiana. I don't know if you guys know, when you're talking to Eric Alexander and you say, you know, I didn't trust you, this, and then the tears start. It's right on your face.
Yes, mind you, nowhere in the script does it say Gia cries. None of those times that you see me crying, that's me crying. And right before that scene, this was towards the end of shooting, where I met Miss Erica, bless her heart. She comes into my trailer. She's like, "How you doing? How's it going?" I'm like, "Yo, I'm about to, yo, protect me. What do I need? What do I do?" I'm like at that point, because you know I'm on set by myself. I didn't have any acting manager or anybody. I was showing up with me and my driver every day. So by the time I met Miss Erica and Joaquin, I was like, help me. and gratefully and graciously, she had given me tips on how to channel the things that were happening in my world and put it into the scene. She's like, don't you feel things? She's like, this is the place where you lead them. This is the place where you do it. You know, she's like, just be there with me. I'm gonna make you get there. And I was like, damn, this is a dance. This is crazy. You know, my mind was just exhausted. And she's like, this is where you can break if you need to. This is the place. And so I lent myself to that. And it was just me and her in that room as far as I was concerned. The directors and DPs, everybody on the set were very warming and safe so that I could do that. There were plenty of times where I was just crying. They didn't know that it was rolling, you know. So, yeah, just being present and locking in on that.
It felt very natural, right? And it, in the scenes with her, particularly, felt very natural. And yeah, for you two, both the films, you let silence hold the place, right? Being quiet. And to the point sometimes I got uncomfortable, right? I'm not gonna put words there simply because it makes you uncomfortable, right? You're gonna have to feel your way through. And I appreciate that. Although at the time I was like, what's happening? I love that. I want to change pace just a little bit and come back to the narrative of your film. Could you talk a little bit about the sort of history of that, the speaker in your film and to the audience?
You mean the actor? Or okay. Yeah, so he is from not too far from where Eugene is from. It was one of his first times. I think it might have been his first time. Yeah, he was a retired truck driver who decided to get into it. I think 80 years old at the time we recorded, which was it was special for me. My dad is 75, so he just reminded me so much of him. And so, yeah. But yeah, so sorry. So he grew up with, obviously didn't grow up at the same time as Eugene, but did experience segregation in the same places. He wove it, so most of it was off script. So I had the script and then we were off script, and he incorporated a lot of his own life into it. And so, yeah, so it was kind of special in that way. This, crossing generations.
I know that another short film, Celestine, when you, just the visuals of the shorter pieces, I just want to ask you about the sort of visuals you put with the voiceovers, with the story, the narratives. How did you come to those visuals?
So I kind of came into it in a strange way because I didn't plan to do this project. I was researching the Great Migration, intending to do a different project, and then just for my own, just for fun, because this place was so special to me, I just wanted to record it. I have a very special relationship with the water, and my family was as well, and so it was, and so I was in the water and I was experiencing this and I was like, I just want to document it. And so I think that's something that I've it's been drilled into me by the filmmakers that I've been around. Like when you were asking about influences,
Yes.
I don't think of like specific films, but when I spent a year at Howard and I got to take a class with Harry Goodman, and which was an incredible experience. That was my first film class, or my own film class. And so, and just, just that intense urge to, you have to document, you have to shoot. And so, so I was just documenting it for fun. I didn't intend for it to be part of my work. It wasn't supposed to be. And then when I came up, I was reading about, my last project had been about Ivy Wells, and I was reading about Chicago, Great Migration, and then when I read Eugene's story, I had just gotten my first roll of film back, not the motion picture, but I started with still photography. I had just gotten my first roll back, and I felt like the boy I had been photographing was Eugene, and so it just felt like it was a call that I had to do that. And so the visuals kind of just came out of what I was capturing, just because I felt like it needed to be documented.
Right. Earlier this week, we had a data symposium here at Tougaloo called Black Girl and Creative Imagination Symposium. And one of the things we talked about was archiving our lives as Black people, as Black women. And what that means is not just what we think of the archives in the library, but documenting our experiences, holding on to artifacts that we have collected from our lives, that they're important in showing our vision, our history, our reality. I think of All Rose definitely is an artifact to a Black girl's life. I mean, that child is angelic, just beautiful in her reactions to things. And you guys, I'm going to stop in a minute. I know we're going over a little bit, but I'm excited. The idea of film being part of that archive, right? Our visions, if we decide I want to take footage of Black children swimming, we may not know later, we may not know right then what it's going to become, but it's going to become something. And so I want to encourage, I don't think I need to encourage y'all, because y'all already got it, but I want to encourage us all to document our lives, right? So those who come after us are not on an expedition. Does that make sense? Right? I like looking through archives and ancestry and doing all that and putting the puzzle together, but we still need to document our experiences. And Black women doing that, our vision, how we see the world, and the many realities that we inhabit, right? I love it when Max says, you want to get in the water? And she's like, I'm scared of the water. I'm like, girl, you're always around the water. How are you scared of the water, right? But that's a lot of our realities, right? I don't want to drown, right? I don't want to mess up my hair, that old, jealousy about black women. I don't miss my hand to walk. All of those things, we have these realities that correct these fallacies. So I'm going to hush, because I will be up here all day talking. And I know we went over a little. Okay, we can do still questions. 3 questions from the audience. All right. So if you have some questions, okay. If you have questions, think them up real quick so we can.
You just raise your hand and I'll come up with the mic. They may want you to just
Thank you guys all for your gorgeous films. Raven, when I was watching your film for the second time, I came in late, but I came in on, I think the scene where Charlene is at the water, her birthday, happy birthday scene. She touches the water and then it starts raining. And there's a lot of rain throughout the film, and I wondered about, were you just sort of working with the weather, or was that like scripted, like and intentional? It just seemed, and I was wondering, like at that scene, like, did the rain just start coming and y'all just was like, okay, we're just gonna write this in and this will become a part of the script, or was it like she touched the water and then you had to wait until it rained and you just sort of like effortlessly, you know, seeing them together? Like I'm just trying to, you know, I'm like process type stuff, so I'm a nerd on that type of stuff, so I just was curious about that. Super specific. Sorry.
No, I love that question. And that's actually the actor, Sean McClure, she plays like he's really plays Mac. But that was Zainab Job playing the oldest version of Mac. And they just look so similar. Yeah. But that was real rain. And it just came like a perfect moment. And we got the weather was really on our side because we were working with we had rain machines but for that scene I didn't have rain machines on standby. It was just not going to have rain. But having rain is so important for story and water, of course. And just the fact that when she's saying happy birthday, she pulls her hand out, and then it's just a slow start of rain, and then it starts to actually rain. Literally the perfect moment. And then when she's walking out for the wedding scene, when Charlene is walking outside the church, when Mac is walking out the church, that's real rain. And so it was really a blessing in those moments to get that real rain, because of course you're working, I mean, like I said, I was working with the rain machines in some moments, but just to really have the environment actually be reflecting something that really resonates with the story was beautiful. Yeah, and so if we didn't get the rain, you know, it just would have had no rain in those scenes, but the fact that it did come, it's almost like, again, something we can't plan for. Because I was planning for rain in that scene of her walking outside the church, but it's like, of course, the needed rain when it happened.
Do you have any more questions?
Thank you all for being here and contributing your work. I was wondering if you all could talk about your artistic backgrounds and like what inspired you to make the work, to get into acting, but also like what prepared you for telling these specific stories. Yeah, did you all go to school? Like what do you do in art that got you here?
Thank you for your question. My personal journey started with music. I've been into music since MySpace. And is that really funny? Absolutely. Coding, we had luck. Still fluent in HTML. Anybody wants to get at me? Yeah, like that. But yeah, that's how they found me. I made music. And yeah, came from a really creative background with my parents. My dad's a musician, he's a bassist, and my mom danced ballet. So I grew up in a really artistically driven household. That was super encouraging to, yeah, just look around the world and see how you can archive your life. Gordon Parks was somebody that came to mind when you were talking about that in particular. How do we preserve our art and make it our own when it's necessary? But yeah, my background is just I'm from Oakland, and the culture and the art is all around us. And I like to tell people, if you've never been there, it's the land of the Pimps and the Panthers. Okay, so I was raised on that intersection. Yeah.
For me, my background is in poetry. And for a long time, I was always interested in filmmaking, in the days where Netflix was out on DVDs, I was watching international films, and I really was interested in film. But it didn't really feel possible for a long time. I just counted myself out because I didn't have a technical background. But when I was about to graduate my writing program, I felt like an hour in the moment, and I took the leap, and I'm really grateful I did. And I'm grateful I studied poetry first because that's where I found my voice and my obsessions and what I'm interested in my work. And I just offer what Tia said about having these different backgrounds as well. It's also very exciting for me to work with actors who it might be their first time acting. My ex Charlie McClure, she's a poet as well. We've known each other for like 2 years, and I probably found a workshop. And Reginald Helms Jr., who plays adult wood in the film, I thought someone else was going to land for wood, and that fell through. And I was in the production office in Mississippi Googling musicians or rappers from the South, and I saw this music video, Southside Fade, and his eyes are so expressive of his body. And so I think I want to offer that as well, is that there's so many. I think sometimes when casting it's easy to put things in a box, but there's so many different ways to find the person you're looking for.
So I guess I've had like a million backgrounds because I'm always going from one thing to the next, but in terms of my introduction to film, I guess I kind of stumbled into it. Growing up, I had been more into music and didn't really get into visual arts until later in life. But I was just moving back from college, moving back to the DC area, and I had been heavily involved with student activism. And so I was just looking for something to get plugged into when I got to DC. Somebody connected me with this woman, Leanne Scott, who was running an organization that was basically like teaching youth how to make films, and then like having them use those skills to make films while it was happening in their neighborhoods. So I focused on working class DC residents, and so I just like offered to help with like other stuff. And then she was like, actually, we need somebody to shoot this documentary. And I was like, I don't know how to use a camera. And she was like, well, he's gonna show you. He was younger than me, and it was just like very like each one teach one type environment. It was just what was needed. And so I did it, and it was incredible. There's a lot of, there are artists in my family, and so it was, so I guess I had some influence from family as well, but I guess it was just kind of like from from storytelling. There's a good tradition of oral history in my family, like recording people. There's like 9 hours of my grandma talking, which is really cool because I didn't know her in real life. So I think it's the family part and just like what was needed in the community.
I want to thank our audience first. Let's give our audience a round of applause. Let's now thank our moderator, Kelly Norman Ellis. Relative to Connie Ellis Taylor, you can tell. And then absolutely thank our film director, our actors, for their presence, for the films that they've done. Thank you so much. This wraps up this segment. At 4 o'clock, we're going to clear the stage now. At 4 o'clock, we'll be right back here again for Michaela Bartholomew, who do a one-woman show. So So please come back, and at 6 o'clock we'll do another film screening. We'll see you then, 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock. And there will be a talk back after 4.
All right. Knock out round 2 of another. Yeah, no, she doesn't.